A Dhammatalk by Ajahn Chah. Convention and Liberation 1. The things of this world are merely conventions of our own making. Having established them, we get lost in them, and refuse to let go, giving rise to clinging to personal views and opinions. This clinging never ends, it is samsara, flowing endlessly on. It has no completion. Now, if we know conventional reality, then we'll know liberation. If we clearly know liberation, then we'll know convention. This is to know the Dhamma. Here there is completion. Take people, for instance. In reality, people don't have any names, we are born naked into the world. If we have names, they arise only through convention. I've contemplated this and seen that if you don't know the truth of this convention, it can be really harmful. It's simply something we use for convenience. Without it we couldn't communicate, there would be nothing to say, no language. I've seen the Westerners when they sit in meditation together in the West. When they get up after sitting, men and women together, sometimes they go and touch each other on the head too. When I saw this I thought, if we cling to convention it gives rise to defilements right there. If we can let go of convention, give up our opinions, we are at peace. Like the generals and colonels, men of rank and position, who come to see me. When they come they say, "Oh, please touch my head 3. If they ask like this, there's nothing wrong with it, they're glad to have their heads touched. But if you tap their heads in the middle of the street, it'd be a different story. This is because of clinging. So I feel that letting go is really the way to peace. Touching a head is against our customs, but in reality it is nothing. When they agree to having it touched, there's nothing wrong with it, just like touching a cabbage or a potato. Accepting, giving up, letting go, this is the way of lightness. Wherever you're clinging, there's becoming and birth right there. There's danger right there. The Buddha taught about convention, and he taught to undo convention in the right way, and so reach liberation. This is freedom, not to cling to conventions. All things in this world have a conventional reality. Having established them, we should not be fooled by them, because getting lost in them really leads to suffering. This point concerning rules and conventions is of utmost importance. One who can get beyond them is beyond suffering. However, they are a characteristic of our world. Take Mr. Bunma, for instance. He used to be just one of the crowd, but now he's been appointed the district commissioner. It's just a convention, but it's a convention we should respect. It's part of the world of people. If you think, oh, before we were friends, we used to work at the tailor's together, and then you go and pat him on the head in public, he'll get angry. It's not right, he'll resent it. So we should follow the conventions in order to avoid giving rise to resentment. It's useful to understand convention. Living in the world is just about this. Know the right time and place, know the person. Why is it wrong to go against conventions? It's wrong because of people. You should be clever, knowing both convention and liberation. Know the right time for each. If we know how to use rules and conventions comfortably, then we are skilled. But if we try to behave according to the higher level of reality in the wrong situation, this is wrong. Where is it wrong? It's wrong with people's defilements, that's where. People all have defilements. In one situation we behave one way, in another situation we must behave in another way. We should know the ins and outs because we live within conventions. Problems occur because people cling to them. If we suppose something to be, then it is. It's there because we suppose it to be there. But if you look closely, in the absolute sense these things don't really exist. As I have often said, before we were laymen and now we are monks. We lived within the convention of layman and now we live within the convention of monk. We are monks by convention, not monks through liberation. In the beginning we establish conventions like this, but if a person merely ordains, this doesn't mean he overcomes defilements. If we take a handful of sand and agree to call it salt, does this make it salt? It is salt, but only in name, not in reality. You couldn't use it to cook with. Its only use is within the realm of that agreement, because there's really no salt there, only sand. It becomes salt only through our supposing it to be so. This word liberation is itself just a convention, but it refers to that beyond conventions. Having achieved freedom, having reached liberation, we still have to use convention in order to refer to it as liberation. If we didn't have convention we couldn't communicate, so it does have its use. For example, people have different names, but they are all people just the same. If we didn't have names to differentiate between them, and we wanted to call out to somebody standing in a crowd, saying, "Hey, person, person," that would be useless. You couldn't say who would answer you because they're all person. But if you called, "Hey, John," then John would come, the others wouldn't answer. Names fulfill just this need. Through them we can communicate, they provide the basis for social behavior. So you should know both convention and liberation. Conventions have a use, but in reality there really isn't anything there. Even people are non-existent. They are merely groups of elements, born of causal conditions, growing dependent on conditions, existing for a while, then disappearing in the natural way. No one can oppose or control it. But without conventions we would have nothing to say, we'd have no names, no practice, no work. Rules and conventions are established to give us a language, to make things convenient, and that's all. Take money, for example. In olden times there weren't any coins or notes, they had no value. People used to barter goods, but those things were difficult to keep, so they created money, using coins and notes. Perhaps in the future we'll have a new king decree that we don't have to use paper money, we should use wax, melting it down and pressing it into lumps. We say this is money and use it throughout the country. Let alone wax, they might even decide to make chicken dung the local currency, all the other things can't be money, just chicken dung. Then people would fight and kill each other over chicken dung. This is the way it is. You could use many examples to illustrate convention. What we use for money is simply a convention that we have set up, it has its use within that convention. Having decreed it to be money, it becomes money. But in reality, what is money? Nobody can say. When there is a popular agreement about something, then a convention comes about to fulfill the need. The world is just this. This is convention, but to get ordinary people to understand liberation is really difficult. Our money, our house, our family, our children, and relatives are simply conventions that we have invented, but really, seen in the light of Dhamma, they don't belong to us. Maybe if we hear this we don't feel so good, but reality is like that. These things have value only through the established conventions. If we establish that it doesn't have value, then it doesn't have value. If we establish that it has value, then it has value. This is the way it is, we bring convention into the world to fulfill a need. Even this body is not really ours, we just suppose it to be so. It's truly just an assumption on our part. If you try to find a real, substantial self within it, you can't. There are merely elements which are born, continue for a while and then die. Everything is like this. There's no real, true substance to it, but it's proper that we use it. It's like a cup. At some time that cup must break, but while it's there you should use it and look after it well. It's a tool for your use. If it breaks there is trouble, so even though it must break, you should try your utmost to preserve it. And so we have the four supports for which the Buddha taught again and again to contemplate. They are the supports on which a monk depends to continue his practice. As long as you live you must depend on them, but you should understand them. Don't cling to them, giving rise to craving in your mind. Convention and liberation are related like this continually. Even though we use convention, don't place your trust in it as being the truth. If you cling to it, suffering will arise. The case of right and wrong is a good example. Some people see wrong as being right and right as being wrong, but in the end who really knows what is right and what is wrong? We don't know. Different people establish different conventions about what's right and what's wrong, but the Buddha took suffering as his guideline. If you want to argue about it, there's no end to it. One says right, another says wrong. One says wrong, another says right. In truth, we don't really know right and wrong at all. But at a useful, practical level, we can say that right is not to harm oneself and not to harm others. This way fulfills a constructive purpose for us. So, after all, both rules and conventions and liberation are simply dhammas. One is higher than the other, but they go hand in hand. There is no way that we can guarantee that anything is definitely like this or like that, so the Buddha said to just leave it be. Leave it be as uncertain. However much you like it or dislike it, you should understand it as uncertain. Regardless of time and place, the whole practice of Dhamma comes to completion at the place where there is nothing. It's the place of surrender, of emptiness, of laying down the burden. This is the finish. It's not like the person who says, "Why is the flag fluttering in the wind?" I say it's because of the wind. Another person says it's because of the flag. The other retorts that it's because of the wind. There's no end to this. The same as the old riddle, which came first, the chicken or the egg? There's no way to reach a conclusion, this is just nature. All these things we say are merely conventions, we establish them ourselves. If you know these things with wisdom, then you'll know impermanence, suffering and not self. This is the outlook which leads to enlightenment. You know, training and teaching people with varying levels of understanding is really difficult. Some people have certain ideas, you tell them something and they don't believe you. You tell them the truth and they say it's not true. I'm right, you're wrong. There's no end to this. If you don't let go, there will be suffering. I've told you before about the 4 men who go into the forest. They hear a chicken crowing, kak-ka-dee-ha. One of them wonders, is that a rooster or a hen? 3 of them say together, it's a hen, but the other doesn't agree, he insists it's a rooster. How could a hen crow like that, he asks. They retort, well, it has a mouth, hasn't it? They argue and argue till the tears fall, really getting upset over it, but in the end they're all wrong. Whether you say a hen or a rooster, they're only names. We establish these conventions, saying a rooster is like this, a hen is like that, a rooster cries like this, a hen cries like that, and this is how we get stuck in the world. Remember this. Actually, if you just say that really there's no hen and no rooster, then that's the end of it. In the field of conventional reality, one side is right and the other side is wrong, but there will never be complete agreement. Arguing till the tears fall has no use. The Buddha taught not to cling. How do we practice non-clinging? We practice simply by giving up clinging, but this non-clinging is very difficult to understand. It takes keen wisdom to investigate and penetrate this, to really achieve non-clinging. When you think about it, whether people are happy or sad, content or discontent, doesn't depend on their having little or having much, it depends on wisdom. All distress can be transcended only through wisdom, through seeing the truth of things. So the Buddha exhorted us to investigate, to contemplate. This contemplation means simply to try to solve these problems correctly. This is our practice. Like birth, old age, sickness, and death, they are the most natural and common of occurrences. The Buddha taught to contemplate birth, old age, sickness, and death, but some people don't understand this. What is there to contemplate, they say? They're born but they don't know birth, they will die but they don't know death. A person who investigates these things repeatedly will see. Having seen, he will gradually solve his problems. Even if he still has clinging, if he has wisdom and sees that old age, sickness, and death are the way of nature, then he will be able to relieve suffering. We study the Dhammas simply for this, to cure suffering. There isn't really much as the basis of Buddhism, there's just the birth and death of suffering, and this the Buddha called the truth. Birth is suffering, old age is suffering, sickness is suffering and death is suffering. People don't see the suffering as the truth. If we know truth, then we know suffering. This pride in personal opinions, these arguments, they have no end. In order to put our minds at rest, to find peace, we should contemplate our past, the present, and the things which are in store for us. Like birth, old age, sickness, and death. What can we do to avoid being plagued by these things? Even though we may still have a little worry, if we investigate till we know according to the truth, all suffering will abate, because we will no longer cling to them. Footnotes 1. An informal talk given in the northeastern dialect, from an unidentified tape. 2. To touch a person's head in Thailand is usually considered an insult. 3. It is considered auspicious in Thailand to have one's head touched by a highly esteemed monk. 4. The 4 supports, robes, alms food, lodgings and medicines. A Dhammatalk by Ajahn Chah. No abiding one. We hear some parts of the teachings and can't really understand them. We think they shouldn't be the way they are, so we don't follow them, but really there is a reason to all the teachings. Maybe it seems that things shouldn't be that way, but they are. At first I didn't even believe in sitting meditation. I couldn't see what use it would be to just sit with your eyes closed. And walking meditation, walk from this tree to that tree, turn around and walk back again. Why bother? I thought, what's the use of all that walking? I thought like that, but actually walking and sitting meditation are of great use. Some people's tendencies cause them to prefer walking meditation, others prefer sitting, but you can't do without either of them. In the scriptures they talk about the 4 postures, standing, walking, sitting and lying. We live with these 4 postures. We may prefer one to the other, but we must use all 4. They say to make these 4 postures even, to make the practice even in all postures. At first I couldn't figure out what this meant, to make them even. Maybe it means we sleep for 2 hours, then stand for 2 hours, then walk for 2 hours, maybe that's it? I tried it, couldn't do it, it was impossible. That's not what it meant to make the postures even. Making the postures even refers to the mind, to our awareness. That is, to give rise to wisdom in the mind, to illumine the mind. This wisdom of ours must be present in all postures, we must know, or understand, constantly. Standing, walking, sitting or lying, we know all mental states as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and not self. Making the postures even in this way can be done, it is possible. Whether like or dislike are present in the mind, we don't forget our practice, we are aware. If we just focus our attention on the mind constantly, then we have the gist of the practice. Whether we experience mental states which the world knows as good or bad, we don't forget ourselves, we don't get lost in good or bad. We just go straight. Making the postures constant in this way is possible. If we have constancy in our practice, when we are praised, then it's simply praise, if we are blamed, it's just blame. We don't get high or low over it, we stay right here. Why? Because we see the danger in all those things, we see their results. We are constantly aware of the danger in both praise and blame. Normally, if we have a good mood, the mind is good also, we see them as the same thing. If we have a bad mood, the mind goes bad as well, we don't like it. This is the way it is, this is uneven practice. If we have constancy just to the extent of knowing our moods, and knowing we're clinging to them, this is better already. That is, we have awareness, we know what's going on, but we still can't let go. We see ourselves clinging to good and bad, and we know it. We cling to good and know it's still not right practice, but we still can't let go. This is 50% or 70% of the practice already. There still isn't release, but we know that if we could let go, that would be the way to peace. We keep seeing the equally harmful consequences of all our likes and dislikes, of praise and blame, continuously. Whatever the conditions may be, the mind is constant in this way. But for worldly people, if they get blamed or criticized they get really upset. If they get praised it cheers them up, they say it's good and get really happy over it. If we know the truth of our various moods, if we know the consequences of clinging to praise and blame, the danger of clinging to anything at all, we will become sensitive to our moods. We will know that clinging to them really causes suffering. We see this suffering, and we see our very clinging as the cause of that suffering. We begin to see the consequences of grabbing and clinging to good and bad, because we've grasped them and seen the result before, no real happiness. So now we look for the way to let go. Where is this way to let go? In Buddhism we say don't cling to anything. We never stop hearing about this don't cling to anything. This means to hold, but not to cling. Like this flashlight. We think, what is this? So we pick it up, oh, it's a flashlight, then we put it down again. We hold things in this way. If we didn't hold anything at all, what could we do? We couldn't walk meditation or do anything, so we must hold things first. It's wanting, yes, that's true, but later on it leads to pram, virtue or perfection. Like wanting to come here, for instance. Venerable Jagaro too came to Wat Papong. He had to want to come first. If he hadn't felt that he wanted to come he wouldn't have come. For anybody it's the same, they come here because of wanting. But when wanting arises don't cling to it. So you come, and then you go back, what is this? We pick it up, look at it and see, oh, it's a flashlight, then we put it down. This is called holding but not clinging, we let go. We know and then we let go. To put it simply we say just this, no, then let go. Keep looking and letting go. This, they say is good, this they say is not good, no, and then let go. Good and bad, we know it all, but we let it go. We don't foolishly cling to things, but we hold them with wisdom. Practicing in this posture can be constant. You must be constant like this. Make the mind know in this way, let wisdom arise. When the mind has wisdom, what else is there to look for? We should reflect on what we are doing here. For what reason are we living here, what are we working for? In the world they work for this or that reward, but the monks teach something a little deeper than that. Whatever we do, we ask for no return. We work for no reward. Worldly people work because they want this or that, because they want some gain or other, but the Buddha taught to work just in order to work. We don't ask for anything beyond that. If you do something just to get some return it'll cause suffering. Try it out for yourself. You want to make your mind peaceful, so you sit down and try to make it peaceful, you'll suffer. Try it. Our way is more refined. We do, and then let go, do, and then let go. Look at the Brahmin who makes a sacrifice, he has some desire in mind, so he makes a sacrifice. Those actions of his won't help him transcend suffering because he's acting on desire. In the beginning we practice with some desire in mind, we practice on and on, but we don't attain our desire. So we practice until we reach a point where we're practicing for no return, we're practicing in order to let go. This is something we must see for ourselves, it's very deep. Maybe we practice because we want to go to Nibbana, right there, you won't get to Nibbana. It's natural to want peace, but it's not really correct. We must practice without wanting anything at all. If we don't want anything at all, what will we get? We don't get anything. Whatever you get is a cause for suffering, so we practice not getting anything. Just this is called making the mind empty. It's empty but there is still doing. This emptiness is something people don't usually understand, only those who reach it see the real value of it. It's not the emptiness of not having anything, it's emptiness within the things that are here. Like this flashlight, we should see this flashlight as empty, because of the flashlight there is emptiness. It's not the emptiness where we can't see anything, it's not like that. People who understand like that have got it all wrong. You must understand emptiness within the things that are here. Those who are still practicing because of some gaining idea are like the Brahmin making a sacrifice just to fulfill some wish. Like the people who come to see me to be sprinkled with holy water. When I ask them, why do you want this holy water, they say, we want to live happily and comfortably and not get sick. They'll never transcend suffering that way. The worldly way is to do things for a reason, to get some return, but in Buddhism we do things without any gaining idea. The world has to understand things in terms of cause and effect, but the Buddha teaches us to go above and beyond cause and effect. His wisdom was to go above cause, beyond effect, to go above birth and beyond death, to go above happiness and beyond suffering. Think about it, there's nowhere to stay. We people live in a home. To leave home and go where there is no home, we don't know how to do it, because we've always lived with becoming, with clinging. If we can't cling, we don't know what to do. So most people don't want to go to Nibbana, there's nothing there, nothing at all. Look at the roof and the floor here. The upper extreme is the roof, that's an abiding. The lower extreme is the floor, and that's another abiding. But in the empty space between the floor and the roof there's nowhere to stand. One could stand on the roof, or stand on the floor, but not on that empty space. Where there is no abiding, that's where there's emptiness, and Nibbana is this emptiness. People hear this and they back up a bit, they don't want to go. They're afraid they won't see their children or relatives. This is why, when we bless the lay people, we say may you have long life, beauty, happiness, and strength. This makes them really happy. Stu, 3 they all say. They like these things. If you start talking about emptiness they don't want it, they're attached to abiding. But have you ever seen a very old person with a beautiful complexion? Have you ever seen an old person with a lot of strength, or a lot of happiness? No. But we say, long life, beauty, happiness, and strength, and they're all really pleased, every single one says to. This is like the Brahmin who makes oblations to achieve some wish. In our practice we don't make oblations, we don't practice in order to get some return. We don't want anything. If we still want something then there is still something there. Just make the mind peaceful and have done with it. But if I talk like this you may not be very comfortable, because you want to be born again. All you lay practitioners should get close to the monks and see their practice. To be close to the monks means to be close to the Buddha, to be close to his Dhamma. The Buddha said, Ananda, practice a lot, develop your practice. Whoever sees the Dhamma sees me, and whoever sees me sees the Dhamma. Where is the Buddha? We may think the Buddha has been and gone, but the Buddha is the Dhamma, the truth. Some people like to say, oh, if I was born in the time of the Buddha I would go to Nibbana. Here, stupid people talk like this. The Buddha is still here. The Buddha is truth. Regardless of whoever is born or dies, the truth is still here. The truth never departs from the world, it's there all the time. Whether a Buddha is born or not, whether someone knows it or not, the truth is still there. So we should get close to the Buddha, we should come within and find the Dhamma. When we reach the Dhamma we will reach the Buddha, seeing the Dhamma we will see the Buddha, and all doubts will dissolve. To give a comparison, it's like Teacher Chu. At first he wasn't a teacher, he was just Mr. Chu. When he studied and passed the necessary grades he became a teacher, and became known as Teacher Chu. How did he become a teacher? Through studying the required subjects, thus allowing Mr. Chu to become Teacher Chu. When Teacher Chu dies, the study to become a teacher still remains, and whoever studies it will become a teacher. That course of study to become a teacher doesn't disappear anywhere, just like the truth, the knowing of which enabled the Buddha to become the Buddha. So the Buddha is still here. Whoever practices and sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. These days people have got it all wrong, they don't know where the Buddha is. They say, if I was born in the time of the Buddha I would have become a disciple of his and become enlightened. That's just foolishness. Don't go thinking that at the end of the rains retreat you'll disrobe. Don't think like that. In an instant an evil thought can arise in the mind, you could kill somebody. In the same way, it only takes a split second for good to flash into the mind, and you're there already. And don't think that you have to ordain for a long time to be able to meditate. Where the right practice lies is in the instant we make karma. In a flash an evil thought arises, before you know it you've committed some heavy karma. And in the same way, all the disciples of the Buddha practiced for a long time, but the time they attained enlightenment was merely one thought moment. So don't be heedless, even in minor things. Try hard, try to get close to the monks, contemplate things, and then you'll know about monks. Well, that's enough, huh? It must be getting late now, some people are getting sleepy. The Buddha said not to teach Dhamma to sleepy people. Footnotes 1. A talk given to the monks, novices, and lay people of Wat Pa Nanachat on a visit to Wat Nong Pa Pong during the rains of 1980. 2. Venerable Jagaro, the Australian, second abbot of Wat Pa Nanachat at that time, who brought his party of monks and lay people to see Ajahn Chah. 3. Stu is the traditional plea word used to acknowledge a blessing, Dhamma teaching, etc., meaning it is well. A Dhammatalk by Ajahn Chah. Right view, the place of coolness 1. The practice of Dhamma goes against our habits, the truth goes against our desires, so there is difficulty in the practice. Some things which we understand as wrong may be right, while the things we take to be right may be wrong. Why is this? Because our minds are in darkness, we don't clearly see the truth. We don't really know anything and so are fooled by people's lies. They point out what is right as being wrong and we believe it, that which is wrong, they say is right, and we believe that. This is because we are not yet our own masters. Our moods lie to us constantly. We shouldn't take this mind and its opinions as our guide, because it doesn't know the truth. Some people don't want to listen to others at all, but this is not the way of a man of wisdom. A wise man listens to everything. One who listens to Dhamma must listen just the same, whether he likes it or not, and not blindly believe or disbelieve. He must stay at the halfway mark, the middle point, and not be heedless. He just listens and then contemplates, giving rise to the right results accordingly. A wise man should contemplate and see the cause and effect for himself before he believes what he hears. Even if the teacher speaks the truth, don't just believe it, because you don't yet know the truth of it for yourself. It's the same for all of us, including myself. I've practiced before you, I've seen many lies before. For instance, this practice is really difficult, really hard. Why is the practice difficult? It's just because we think wrongly, we have wrong view. Previously I lived together with other monks, but I didn't feel right. I ran away to the forests and mountains, fleeing the crowd, the monks and novices. I thought that they weren't like me, they didn't practice as hard as I did. They were sloppy. That person was like this person was like that. This was something that really put me in turmoil, it was the cause for my continually running away. But whether I lived alone or with others, I still had no peace. On my own I wasn't content, in a large group I wasn't content. I thought this discontent was due to my companions, due to my moods, due to my living place, the food, the weather, due to this and that. I was constantly searching for something to suit my mind. As a Dhutangatu monk, I went traveling, but things still weren't right. So I contemplated, what can I do to make things right? What can I do? Living with a lot of people I was dissatisfied, with few people I was dissatisfied. For what reason? I just couldn't see it. Why was I dissatisfied? Because I had wrong view, just that, because I still clung to the wrong Dhamma. Wherever I went I was discontent, thinking, here is no good, there is no good. On and on like that. I blamed others. I blamed the weather, heat, and cold, I blamed everything. Just like a mad dog. It bites whatever it meets, because it's mad. When the mind is like this, our practice is never settled. Today we feel good, tomorrow no good. It's like that all the time. We don't attain contentment or peace. The Buddha once saw a jackal, a wild dog, run out of the forest where he was staying. It stood still for a while, then it ran into the underbrush, and then out again. Then it ran into a tree hollow, then out again. Then it went into a cave, only to run out again. 1 minute it stood, the next it ran, then it lay down, then it jumped up. That jackal had mange. When it stood, the mange would eat into its skin, so it would run. Running, it was still uncomfortable, so it would stop. Standing was still uncomfortable, so it would lie down. Then it would jump up again, running into the underbrush, the tree hollow, never staying still. The Buddha said, "Monks, did you see that jackal this afternoon? Standing it suffered, running it suffered, sitting it suffered, lying down it suffered. In the underbrush, a tree hollow or a cave, it suffered. It blamed standing for its discomfort, it blamed sitting, it blamed running and lying down, it blamed the tree, the underbrush, and the cave. In fact, the problem was with none of those things. That jackal had mange. The problem was with the mange. We monks are just the same as that jackal. Our discontent is due to wrong view. Because we don't exercise sense restraint, we blame our suffering on externals. Whether we live at Wat Pa Pong in America or in London, we aren't satisfied. Going to live at Bungway or any of the other branch monasteries, we're still not satisfied. Why not? Because we still have wrong view within us. Wherever we go, we aren't content. But just as that dog, if the mange is cured, is content wherever it goes, so it is for us. I reflect on this often, and I teach you this often, because it's very important. If we know the truth of our various moods, we arrive at contentment. Whether it's hot or cold, we are satisfied. With many people or with few people, we are satisfied. Contentment doesn't depend on how many people we are with, it comes only from right view. If we have right view, then wherever we stay, we are content. But most of us have wrong view. It's just like a maggot's living place is filthy, its food is filthy, but they suit the maggot. If you take a stick and brush it away from its lump of dung, it'll struggle to crawl back in. It's the same when the Ajahn teaches us to see rightly. We resist, it makes us feel uneasy. We run back to our lump of dung because that's where we feel at home. We're all like this. If we don't see the harmful consequences of all our wrong views, then we can't leave them. The practice is difficult. So we should listen. There's nothing else to the practice. If we have right view wherever we go, we are content. I have practiced and seen this already. These days there are many monks, novices, and lay people coming to see me. If I still didn't know, if I still had wrong view, I'd be dead by now. The right abiding place for monks, the place of coolness, is just right view itself. We shouldn't look for anything else. So even though you may be unhappy, it doesn't matter, that unhappiness is uncertain. Is that unhappiness yourself? Is there any substance to it? Is it real? I don't see it as being real at all. Unhappiness is merely a flash of feeling which appears and then is gone. Happiness is the same. Is there a consistency to happiness? Is it truly an entity? It's simply a feeling that flashes suddenly and is gone. There. It's born and then it dies. Love just flashes up for a moment and then disappears. Where is the consistency in love, or hate, or resentment? In truth, there is no substantial entity there, they are merely impressions which flare up in the mind and then die. They deceive us constantly, we find no certainty anywhere. Just as the Buddha said, when unhappiness arises, it stays for a while, then disappears. When unhappiness disappears, happiness arises and lingers for a while and then dies. When happiness disappears, unhappiness arises again, on and on like this. In the end, we can say only this, apart from the birth, the life, and the death of suffering, there is nothing. There is just this. But we who are ignorant run and grab it constantly. We never see the truth of it, that there's simply this continual change. If we understand this, then we don't need to think very much, but we have much wisdom. If we don't know it, then we will have more thinking than wisdom, and maybe no wisdom at all. It's not until we truly see the harmful results of our actions that we can give them up. Likewise, it's not until we see the real benefits of practice that we can follow it, and begin working to make the mind good. If we cut a log of wood and throw it into the river, and that log doesn't sink or rot, or run aground on either of the banks of the river, that log will definitely reach the sea. Our practice is comparable to this. If you practice according to the path laid down by the Buddha, following it straightly, you will transcend two things. What two things? Just those two extremes that the Buddha said were not the path of a true meditator, indulgence in pleasure and indulgence in pain. These are the two banks of the river. One of the banks of that river is hate, the other is love. Or you can say that one bank is happiness, the other unhappiness. The log is this mind. As it flows down the river, it will experience happiness and unhappiness. If the mind doesn't cling to that happiness or unhappiness, it will reach the ocean of Nibbana. You should see that there is nothing other than happiness and unhappiness arising and disappearing. If you don't run aground on these things, then you are on the path of a true meditator. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Happiness, unhappiness, love, and hate are simply established in nature according to the constant law of nature. The wise person doesn't follow or encourage them, he doesn't cling to them. This is the mind which lets go of indulgence in pleasure and indulgence in pain. It is the right practice. Just as that log of wood will eventually flow to the sea, so will the mind which doesn't attach to these two extremes inevitably attain peace. Footnotes. 1 given to the assembly of monks and novices at Wat Pa Nanachat, during the Rains Retreat, 1978. 2 Dhammatanga, properly means ascetic. A Dhammatanga monk is one who keeps some of the 13 ascetic practices allowed by the Buddha. Dhammatanga monks traditionally spend time traveling, often on foot, in search of quiet places for meditation, other teachers, or simply as a practice in itself. A Dhammatalk by Ajahn Chah. Epilogue 1. Do you know where it will end? Or will you just keep on studying like this? Or is there an end to it? That's okay, but it's the external study, not the internal study. For the internal study you have to study these eyes, these ears, this nose, this tongue, this body, and this mind. This is the real study. The study of books is just the external study, it's really hard to get it finished. When the eye sees form, what sort of thing happens? When ear, nose, and tongue experience sounds, smells and tastes, what takes place? When the body and mind come into contact with touches and mental states, what reactions take place? Are there still greed, aversion, and delusion there? Do we get lost in forms, sounds, smells, tastes, textures and moods? This is the internal study. It has a point of completion. If we study but don't practice, we won't get any results. It's like a man who raises cows. In the morning he takes the cow out to pasture, in the evening he brings it back to its pen, but he never drinks the cow's milk. Study is all right, but don't let it be like this. You should raise the cow and drink its milk too. You must study and practice as well to get the best results. Here, I'll explain it further. It's like a man who raises chickens, but doesn't collect the eggs. All he gets is the chicken dung. This is what I tell the people who raise chickens back home. Watch out you don't become like that. This means we study the scriptures but we don't know how to let go of defilements, we don't know how to push greed, aversion, and delusion from our mind. Study without practice, without this giving up, brings no results. This is why I compare it to someone who raises chickens but doesn't collect the eggs, he just collects the dung. It's the same thing. Because of this, the Buddha wanted us to study the scriptures, and then to give up evil actions through body, speech, and mind, to develop goodness in our deeds, speech and thoughts. The real worth of mankind will come to fruition through our deeds, speech and thoughts. If we only talk, without acting accordingly, it's not yet complete. Or if we do good deeds but the mind is still not good, this is still not complete. The Buddha taught to develop goodness in body, speech, and mind, to develop fine deeds, fine speech and fine thoughts. This is the treasure of mankind. The study and the practice must both be good. The Eightfold Path of the Buddha, the path of practice, has 8 factors. These 8 factors are nothing other than this very body, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 tongue, and 1 body. This is the path. And the mind is the one who follows the path. Therefore both the study and the practice exist in our body, speech, and mind. Have you ever seen scriptures which teach about anything other than the body, the speech, and the mind? The scriptures only teach about this, nothing else. Defilements are born right here. If you know them, they die right here. So you should understand that the practice and the study both exist right here. If we study just this much we can know everything. It's like our speech, to speak one word of truth is better than a lifetime of wrong speech. Do you understand? One who studies and doesn't practice is like a ladle in a soup pot. It's in the pot every day but it doesn't know the flavor of the soup. If you don't practice, even if you study till the day you die, you'll never know the taste of freedom. Footnotes. One taken from a talk given in England to a Western Dhamma student in 1977.